I'm putting this on video, not you, but I'm putting this on video. Where's the manager?
I'm the manager. I'm sorry, I don't want to be weird. I was just stepping out.
Okay, so
can I have you pull up, sir? I'm gonna talk to you up here.
All right. Chick-fil-A and LaPlata. All right, so what's your excuse for why this person put this?
There is no excuse. What was the name that you gave him?
I told him Marquise. That's not even close to Marquise.
No, sir, it's not. And I'm gonna go ahead and have a talk with him right now.
I'm gonna write a letter to corporate about this. This is very offending.
And I agree, and I'm so sorry that you even had to go through this. So what I'm gonna go ahead and put in a refund for you for the inconvenience. I'm gonna go ahead and have a talk with them. I'm so sorry about this.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let me go handle this for you.
Right.
You pay with the card, correct?
I'm about to go inside of this Chick-fil-A down here in LaPlata. Talk to this guy who was at the drive-thru. How you doing?
Hello.
Is the guy who was at the drive-thru who wrote monkeys on my receipt, is he available? Nobody can answer my question?
I'm sorry, sir. What was your question?
I asked them, they ignored me. I said, is the guy who wrote monkeys on my receipt, is he available? I want to talk to him.
No, sir. I can't have you speak to him right now.
Is he still here?
He's leaving.
Okay. I'm going to make sure that this video goes viral.
All right, guys. So we got to talk about a story that, once again, is a great example of how the demand for racism in this country is much greater than the supply, okay? For a country that is supposed to be systemically racist, it is so hard for black people out here. We face so much racism from the white man, right? These stories of racism seem to be a load of crap, okay? That's what we got to talk about here today, okay? Because we have a black man who was left horrified when Chick-fil-A drive-thru employee got his name wrong on the receipt, right? He listed his name as Monkeys instead of Marquise, okay? Now, you guys saw at the beginning of the video, this man get upset and confront the Chick-fil-A employees about this, okay? Clearly, the Chick-fil-A employees were not going for this, right? They all know that it was probably a mistake, okay? But this guy won't let it go, right? He's angry, he's upset, and he's boohoo, whining, crying racism on social media and to the local media and the national media as well, too, in order to get this teenager who accidentally got his name wrong fired, right? He wants to ruin the teenager's life because his feelings are hurt. Take a look.
A Charles County man is outraged after he placed a drive-thru order at Chick-fil-A, and he says a worker printed a racist name on the label.
Our Amy Cho has that story you will only see here on News 4.
When Marquise Vanzego got his food from the LaPlata Chick-fil-A drive-thru last Friday, he was shocked to see this printed on the label, the word monkeys instead of his name.
It was devastating because it just set me back, years. As a black male, we've gone through a lot, and it just it's a constant reminder. Just when you think you're healing from a situation, someone opens that wound back up.
Vanzego says he went inside to complain, and a manager and the store owner later apologized to him. Vanzego says the owner told him he wouldn't fire the employee involved because the employee was a minor and said he misheard the name. Vanzego says he placed the order face-to-face, not through a microphone, because the worker was standing outside in the drive-thru line.
I think that it could have been handled a lot differently. I definitely think that the employee should have been terminated on the spot. It's unfortunate that he might end up losing his job, but that happens. He needs to learn from this.
And Vanzego tells me he used to be a regular here at this Chick-fil-A, often coming several times a week. News 4 reached out to the company for a response.
They sent a statement saying this Chick-fil-A is independently franchised and operated. The franchisee of this restaurant has apologized to the guest. However, this experience does not meet our expectations and is unacceptable. Vanzego says he's hired an attorney and he's considering filing a federal lawsuit against Chick-fil-A for discrimination.
I won't be going back to that Chick-fil-A any longer. Racism is still alive.
News 4 also called the LaPlata Chick-fil-A. A worker who answered the phone said they had no further comment. Amy Cho, News 4.
Yo, wow. I mean, every few years I cover stories like this, and it really just blows your mind how fragile and soft these people that claim they're so strong actually are, right? These people who come out here and talk about how strong they are, they're the softest people in the world, okay? Because again, I have covered stories like this. A couple years ago, I covered a story, a hilarious story, right? That got a lot of outrage from the pro-blacks and woke revolutionaries. A teacher was placed on leave because she issued a science test where she asked a question about primates, right? She was like, identify the primates. And it was a bunch of animals, okay, that were primates, some weren't primates. And then you had some monkeys, and then you had Barack Obama, right? You had Barack Obama's face, okay? Now, technically, okay, if you believe in evolution and all that stuff, humans are primates, right? Or so, again, scientifically speaking, there's nothing wrong with the question, okay? It's just the fact that it was Barack Obama, a black man, okay? His picture was there. It sparked outrage, even though there was nothing wrong with the question and the answers, right? You put Joe Biden there, you put Hillary Clinton there, you put Bill Clinton there, Ronald Reagan, Gerald Ford, Kamala Harris, whoever, right? You put any human there, U.S. president or not, the answer is still the same, okay? So clearly, it wasn't racist, okay? It just so happens that the teacher used a black president, okay? I guess you could say they could have used anybody else, but again, Obama, pretty popular president, right? I'm just saying. You could have put anybody there. The answer is the same. But people were boohoo-whining crying racism because for whatever reason, anytime, monkey or primate is associated in any way whatsoever, okay, with a black person, oh man, black people lose their minds, right? Lose their minds. And that's what's happening here. Okay, I think that this guy clearly is a Kamala Harris voter because he appears to be suffering from low testosterone, okay? Because this is low T behavior, right? Maybe you eating a little bit too much Chick-fil-A, okay? Maybe you need to, lay off the Chick-fil-A, right? Lose some weight, get in the gym, okay? Get your test levels up, and maybe you wouldn't feel this way, right? Maybe you wouldn't be so easily hurt because that's what's going on here. Clearly, this was an accident. Clearly it was an accident. I mean, your name is Marquise. It's not that different than monkeys, right? I can definitely understand how the Chick-fil-A employee may have gotten it mixed up, especially considering how most of the time they're talking to you through a headset, right? So that guy may have heard it differently. And people say all types of crazy stuff at drive-thrus when they don't want to give their names, right? So it is plausible that the guy didn't think twice about it. He said, okay, monkeys, whatever, right? And moved on because that's what people do, right? People don't want to get their name. They make up a name. Okay, it happens, right? And your name is Marquise. When you say Marquise through a headset, it might sound different. It might sound like monkeys, okay? It just depends on how you say it. Everybody has played the game of telephone, okay? And you should understand how easy it is to mix something up like that, to get something like that incorrect, okay? And everybody knew, the Chick-fil-A employees knew. A lot of them happen to be black, by the way, right? That's another element of the story to pay attention to. Most of the employees in the restaurant were black, okay? And they're looking at him like, bro, are you serious right now? Right? Like, they are looking at him like, you cannot be serious, right? They were basically ignoring the guy because his complaints were so stupid, right? It was so dumb that even the black employees were like, bruh, what are you doing, right? Are you really doing this right now? Are you really trying to give us a hard time over what clearly is a mistake that has nothing to do with your food, by the way, okay? Which is what you come to the restaurant for, okay? Which is food. Now, if they made a mistake when it came to the food, your order, okay, I get that, right? I understand being upset about that, right? But they got your name wrong on the receipt. Who cares? Right? And there's a totally plausible reason for why it happened, okay? That has nothing to do with racism. But this is how these people think, right? When you're looking for racism, you're going to find racism, even if it's not racism. And the worst part about it is that this guy is so convinced that he's a victim of racism, that he's trying to ruin this teenager's life. Now, we don't even know if the teenager is white. We have no clue who did this, right? We have no clue if this was really an act of rape. We don't know any of that stuff at all. But this guy is trying to ruin a teenager's life because his feelings was hurt over what is clearly an accident. Saying that the teenager needs to be fired. Fired from what probably is his first job. A good paying job at that, okay? You have Chick-fil-A, okay, which is one of these fast food restaurants that I believe pays, pretty good money to work at a fast food restaurant. You're going to make a teenager lose a good job over an honest mistake that has nothing to do with your food, okay? An honest mistake. It really blows my mind. Like, you're not a good person, right? You're not the good guy in the situation. You actually are the bad guy, okay? You're the bad guy who's simply trying to make a mountain out of molehill in order to get paid, right? This guy is talking about getting a lawyer and filing a lawsuit for discrimination because Chick-fil-A refuses to fire a teenager for making an honest mistake. I mean, it's like, come on, man. Like, everybody can see the grift here. You're just trying to get paid. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get a quick payday, right? But again, this guy is trying to stand on some type of moral high ground, try to pretend as if he's fighting against racism. Oh, well, this teenager, he has to learn his lesson, right? He got to learn his lesson. You are a very, very, very small man, right? It's hard for me to call somebody like this a man. This is not masculine behavior. This is low testosterone behavior. This is what it is. This is feminine behavior. 100%, right? 100%, because an emotional woman would be the type of person in this situation to not let this go, right? What clearly is an obvious mistake. I would have let it go. I would be like, hey, well, hey, it is what it is, okay? And kept it moving, okay? Because my time is worth too much in order to worry about silly things like that, right? And I think the biggest problem here really is not just this guy and his feminine behavior, but also the mainstream liberal media giving this airtime, right? I think this was run by Today. That's why I saw this, okay? So you got the mainstream liberal media, the national media, giving this clear non-story airtime as if it's a legitimate story. Like, this is not a legitimate story, okay? When guys like this go to the press, they should be laughed at, okay? The journalists should be laughing at them and saying, come on, man, this ain't no story, okay? What's wrong with you? Accept the apology and move on, right? That's what they really should be doing. It's not a story. So I don't understand why they ran this story. This is not an example of racism. And it's stuff like this that makes legitimate accusations of racism worth a lot less, right? When people actually experience real racism, black or white, the accusations are less potent. They're not taken seriously because of stuff like this. And I don't think any serious lawyer should take this guy's case, right? Any serious lawyer should laugh at this guy and tell him, move on with your life, okay? We're not going to file a frivolous lawsuit over what clearly is a mistake. Everybody can see it, right? Everybody can see it. Now, again, if this started happening in the real world, then you get a lot less of this. The reason why you get so much of this is because, unfortunately, this type of stuff is taken seriously. And people have gotten paid off of these silly accusations. And that's all this is, right? This is this guy trying to get a payday, right? Trying to take this very small thing and trying to get a payday out of it and try to pretend as if he's a victim and that his life is so hard because he's black. And he really should be ashamed of himself, right? He should be ashamed of himself because he's not the good person in this situation. He's actually been a bad person. He's displaying the exact type of behavior that men should not engage in, okay, as a man, right? Because you should not be this emotionally fragile, but because of this guy and his fragile ego, his fragile feelings, okay, his fragility, he is trying to ruin a teenager's life. And again, this is not good, right? This is not acceptable. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.